One of the most repeated stories about the Bermuda Triangle is the disappearance of Flight 19 on December 5, 1945. Flight 19 was composed of 5 Avenger torpedo bombers doing a training exercise under the command of Lieutenant Charles Taylor, an experienced pilot. The flight plan called for the planes to fly east and make practice bombing runs near Chicken and Hen Shoals. The plan then had them continue east to a point just south of Grand Bahama Island. There the flight would turn north. Then they would make a final turn to take them on a southwesterly course back to their base at the Naval Air Station at Fort Lauderdale. At 3 p.m., a controller at Fort Lauderdale heard one of the planes ask for permission to drop a bomb, indicating that the Avengers are still at the bombing range. 40 minutes later, however, Taylor was heard to say that both his compasses were out, and he was unsure of his location, but he was over broken land. Taylor apparently had become convinced that he was not off the east coast of Florida, but south of it, over some islands known as the Florida Keys. He requested help, and another pilot recommended that if he was in the Keys, he should put the setting sun on his left wing and fly north. The flight attempted this, but could not find any land. Taylor then apparently decided he was further down the Keys than he had thought, and his flight north had led them up the west coast of Florida. He decided to turn east, hoping to come across the Florida mainland, but again, he met nothing but ocean. By 5:50 p.m., stations on land had used radio triangulation and located the position of the Avengers not off the west coast of Florida, but off the east coast over the Atlantic. By then, bad weather had caused radio communications to break down, however, and this information never reached Flight 19. 2 Martin Mariner bombers took off to search the area and guide the Avengers back, but Flight 19 was never found. Making the mystery even deeper, one of the Mariners itself also never returned from his mission. So what happened to Flight 19? There have been some wild theories put forward, including the idea that they were captured by flying saucers. The truth is perhaps both simpler and sadder. Lost and running out of fuel, the planes were forced to ditch at sea in heavy weather, giving their crews little chance for survival. The flight was probably always exactly where it was supposed to have been. When Taylor flew them north, he was flying up the Atlantic coast of Florida, and when he turned east, he was actually taking them away from the safety of the land. If he ever realized his mistake, he was too far at sea to make it home. How did Taylor get so lost? Though he was an experienced pilot, he was prone to fly by the seat of his pants. He was very familiar with flying over the Keys, and when the compasses failed, he must have looked at the nearby islands and thought he recognized them. What he didn't realize is that some of the islands off the Atlantic coast appear very similar to those in the Keys. So what happened to the Martin Mariner? These aircraft were known to sometimes vent fuel fumes into the cabin. It is likely a crew member, in lighting a cigarette, accidentally set off the vapors, causing an explosion. A ship in the area reported seeing a flash in the air and hearing something hit the sea. So an accidental explosion and a lost pilot are the truth behind this story. Perhaps the fate of Flight 19 is not quite the mystery it's sometimes made out to be.